some in pairs, and put some of this information to use. If you look at the map up here, you don't see Germany as a nation. You see a collection of different regions, German-speaking regions, German culture, German-speaking, and they were divided amongst various countries, and some of them were independent little principalities. But the common thread, the thing that held these nations or that made them want to join, was they all spoke German. They had a German culture. German-speaking cultures lived in Prussia. Prussia was the largest region, German region here. Here's Prussia. The Austrian Empire and 39 small states were ruled by princes. Okay? So they were spread all over this region before 1860. Some examples of the German-speaking states include Prussia, Mecklenburg. Does that ring a bell with anyone?
No.
Mecklenburg. There is a county in North Carolina. Charlotte is in Mecklenburg County. Have an idea of why we have a Mecklenburg County? Well, what's the relationship? Why would we have a Mecklenburg County? Why would we have a Wachovia?
Oh, I didn't know that's a thing.
Joanna?
Different types of different people from different countries colonized America.
Absolutely. Large German-speaking populations colonized parts of North Carolina, including our own area. German-speaking population from this region. And in Charlotte as well. So, how many of you knew that when we were forming the United States, the Continental Congress at one time took a vote, and we were within a couple of votes shy of having German being our national language? Yeah. So instead of speaking English, you might be sitting here today speaking German. Had the vote gone a different way. How odd is that? Okay, so a lot of German influences in our area. The German principalities wanted to get together and form their own nation. What got in the way of that happening from the very beginning? German nationalists were looking to unify, but they needed a leader. And Prussia seemed to be that leader. The question is why? Why Prussia? Prussia had a large population, for one thing. They were wealthy, for another thing. Why? Because they were industrialized. We've talked about industrialization already. Industrialization gave them a foundation of wealth. They had a strong manufacturing sector, trade associations. Prussia assumed a leading role in trade negotiations among the German-speaking states. So Prussia was the natural choice to become the leader of this movement to unify the German principalities into a single nation. They were large, they were industrialized, they were wealthy. What were they missing, is the question. We're missing a leader. The leader turned out to be this gentleman here, Count Otto von Bismarck. Anyone ever heard of Bismarck before? Militarism, just quickly associate militarism with having a large military force. And it's a bit more than that. But militarism is having a large military force, at least. Count Otto von Bismarck. Prussian Parliament refused new taxes to build a larger army. He was a militarist. He wanted a large army for the new nation of Germany. But the Parliament of Germany would not provide the tax to raise his army. So he just built a larger army using the existing taxes. And he almost bankrupted the treasury of Germany doing this. There are other needs of the nation that went lacking because he was using all the tax money to build this large military force. his idea and King William's idea was to make Prussia the dominant force in the area. He used the army that he built, Bismarck did, to seize other German-speaking areas like Schleswig and Holstein. He took them from the nation of Denmark. He drove Austrians out of German-speaking territories. He added new areas from 1864 to 1867. He enticed the German principalities to become Prussia's allies. And he tricked France, or he enticed France into declaring war on Prussia, because he knew that he would win that war. Germany would win that war. And they in fact did. In 1870, they had a war with France and captured, took some French territory during that war, at the end of the war. It was called the Franco-Prussian War. And the German states celebrated Prussia's winning this war by inviting William I of Prussia to become the Kaiser of the new German nation. Now, Kaiser, the word Kaiser, comes from the word Caesar. You pronounce it Caesar. In Latin, the C is pronounced as a K. So in Latin, that word Caesar is pronounced Kaiser. So you can see that the German Kaiser, word Kaiser, comes from the Latin, and also it's associated with the Russian word Tsar for their leader. So this is how Prussia became the dominant force in the new nation of Germany. Bismarck was known as the Iron Chancellor. He used iron weapons and soldiers' blood to unify the German state. That meant that he used his military to achieve his personal goals and the goals of Germany. Once Germany was created, Bismarck kept the new nation out of war. So he used the army to create the nation, but once the nation was created, he kept them out of war. He spent Germany's resources on building a national economy because he knew that you can't have a strong army without having a strong economy. And we've talked about that before. Now, here's where we're going to put some of the information to use. I have this activity here. Use this information to fill in the blanks that you see here. We're identifying two different things. We're identifying, first of all, Bismarck's actions, what Bismarck actually did to make Germany stronger. And this is why I've listed these as actions. And the second thing we're doing is we're looking at a result of these actions right here. And we're looking at contributing factors that combined with his actions to make these actions true, or to make this goal true, to help him accomplish his goal. Okay? What questions do you have about the activity right now? We're doing only this side. Okay? Take about 10 minutes at most to complete the activity, please.
The government
Did she spell it that way? K-I-S-E-R?
William the First.
Language is very interesting. There's a reason I had you underline these sentences. They serve as sort of bookmarks or reference points in the text that allow you to focus in to find the answers more easily. Is anyone stuck? Like I said, he believed in having a strong military force. The only way to get and keep a strong military force is to have a strong economy behind it. Strengthening the economy. I'm looking for some different responses from different people. So, the next one, action. Bismarck raised what? Ashley, tell me what Bismarck raised.
Tariffs to protect German manufacturing.
You're absolutely right. Tariffs to protect German manufacturing. Exactly right. Tariffs are sort of a tax on foreign goods that keep the price of your own homegrown goods competitive. In other words, we don't have a situation like we have with the United States and China, in which we get cheap Chinese goods coming in and we lose our manufacturing jobs because the goods that we produce are more expensive. So Bismarck protected Germany by having these taxes on foreign goods. The next one, Bismarck strengthened what? Diane. Bismarck strengthened what?
Banking system.
Banking system, exactly right. Bismarck strengthened the banking system. The foundation of a strong economy is a strong banking system. The next one, Bismarck passed laws paying workers up to what if sick or injured, Tori?
6 months.
Yes. So let's look at that. 6 months. So if you were out of work, injured or sick, the government would pay you a living wage for up to 6 months. This was way ahead of its time for European governments. There weren't European governments that did this. This sounds also almost like socialism, doesn't it? Next one. Bismarck set up what? Megan.
An old age.
Pension?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a retirement plan for workers that provided service to the state, to the government. An old age pension for retired workers aged 70 or older. So you had to work until you were 70, but you were guaranteed a retirement. Nice. There are people in our own country that don't have a guaranteed retirement. This was a pretty progressive policy for Germany. Now, let's look at the result. All of these actions that Bismarck completed led to something happening. By 1910, Germany was the largest industrial nation in Europe. Why? What contributed to Germany being the largest nation, industrial nation in Europe? Well, the first contributing factor I've given you. All of these actions that Bismarck took was a contributing factor to making that happen. And some additional things that I asked you to fill in. Contributing factor, Germany had what? What was the first one, Joanna?
Resources to promote industrialization.
Exactly. Very important that a nation have resources in order to become industrialized, and Germany had those resources.